Today's adventure takes us to Gas Station Simulator, a game about an abusive relationship between an uncle and his mute nephew. The story starts with our hero, Spider, driving nonchalantly somewhere down Route 66. You arrive at a dilapidated gas station as the sun burns bright on what is sure to be a beautiful dream. After a quick nap, you wake at nightfall in what looks like a room a group of homeless men would use to quietly jerk off in while waiting for their soup to boil. When trying to leave your hovel above the warehouse for the first time, you'll notice that two black garbage bags are blocking your path. Did you put these here for safety when you came in this morning, Spider? As you make your way down to begin your first few challenges, you get a phone call from your loving uncle, only to realize that your uncle is actually a massive cunt and has no intention of giving you the Stardew Valley treatment. The cold, sobering thought of your dream slowly dying is beaten into you by one of his thugs as they ask for their money back impossibly early in the game. But that's where things take a turn. I like the fact that they took time to put in somewhat of a story to it. It makes the game less about simply tasking it, but adds a layer of intrigue into the mix. The more challenges you complete, the more the story unfolds. In an effort to be spoiler-free, it's time to move on to gameplay. The game revolves around sets of challenges which need to be done in order to progress forward and gain more upgrades, staff, and other cool shit. At first, these challenges are as simple as walking your dog in the backyard. They are easy, rewarding, and instill a sense of confidence in you that maybe you can get over the fact that your uncle is a massive C and fiddled with you as a kid. As you progress, naturally these challenges become harder, until they become harder than doing these things in real life, simply because of how dirty the incompetent customers are. Shortly upon your arrival, you'll be tasked with doing things like putting petrol in cars, fixing cars, sweeping floors, taking out the trash, ordering products for shelves, packing, unpacking, and just generally fixing up the place. It does a very good job at making you feel like this is actually what one needs to do in order to run a petrol station, and at the same time, thank Christ you don't have to spend your life doing this. I found myself wanting to quit early on, if not for the relentless part of me that refuses to give in due to the fact that if I didn't sweep the floor in the game, my wife would make me do it in the real world. So I kept at it. Once I got past the first hurdle and began hiring some staff, things got easier, momentarily. As with most new businesses hiring staff, they require some basic attention to do their job. However, in this simulation, the staff have the general intelligence of a stillborn antelope, and the only thing they can do competently is sitting on their chairs outside their trailers smoking. Again, I persevered, and just like children in factories around the world, the more I put them to work, the more they learn to do their jobs properly. Probably the most frustrating thing for me is this little kid who comes around spray painting your building and throwing stink bombs after an already long day. He is clearly the result of a sibling love affair and a few chromosomes short of a vegetable. Unsatisfyingly for us, he can't be dealt with by use of a brick to the back of the head. Instead, you have to repress that anger back into the real world and potentially take it out on your significant other at a later stage. How I long for an intimate and Postal 2 experience, just for a short period of time. A rage button, if you will. Then we can all go back to sweeping floors and bending over for the customers while they demand their favorite colored Fanta. To sum up the early game experience neatly would be to say that it feels like hard work. I found myself getting frustrated by certain bugs, the NPC's general retardation, and the lack of a more sandboxed experience where I just build what I want, as opposed to real-world drafting. However, saying that, I understand the need for these gateways to happiness and success. It's why real life functions so well. Without challenges, life is nothing more than a straight line with no opportunity. I suppose it all comes down to your perspective, really. I find myself as someone who can no longer spend hours in most simulation games because there's a real world where I could probably easily just open my own gas station if I really wanted to. Especially with this amount of emotional effort. And saying that, I clearly understand that not everyone is an impatient South African with a dream of opening a shop filled with all the world's missing socks. So let me make an attempt at saying some nice objective things, because there's a lot to love about this experience, and I most certainly wasted the good part of a week playing this. Yes, the game is tedious at first, but that's why you keep coming back for more. Just like a dying relationship, you have this idea of what things could be like, and it's that hope that drives you forward, until one day, just maybe, it will work out. The music suits the game well, although it's mostly scarce. It would be great if there was more musical ambience while running around doing my tasks. Just a little something to pique my dopamine when I'm down low. Graphically, it's not going to win a modeling contest, but it's pretty enough to keep me happy while I hope for better days at the station. And I'm sure if I was high enough, like a lot of you probably are while playing games, then it's a graphical masterpiece, and how good would some Skittles be right now? I had a satisfying flashback when changing the tires on a car, like a visit from a long-lost friend. As a kid, I spent a lot of time playing Gearhead Garage, a game entirely based around fixing cars. So thanks for that, devs. Fixing cars is a lot more fun than scanning items at checkout. The controls are fairly straightforward, except for throwing stuff out the house, which can sometimes get stuck. Seeing as this is a say something nice section, I will say that pressing WASD to sweep a floor has never felt so easy. I think the devs spent a lot of time adding some great quirks to the game, in the sense that it is a game, there could be bugs with it, it's also just a gas station, but we can make it a fun ride for a bunch of people, and they did just that. The inclusion of a UFO button is the best method of ridding the world of stuck NPCs I've ever seen in a game, and also creates a unique opportunity to break the game in many exciting ways just to reset it later. The party buses that arrive to help you gain the much needed customer sales tips adds an element of humor. The story, while not a Christopher Nolan masterpiece, is an entertaining addition to the task-based gameplay and backs up my itching need to return to the game. This game is a lot like having sex with a prostitute, in the sense that it's fun, but not necessarily the best thing to do with your time and money. But that's real-world logic, and this isn't a review about how to best use your time and money. Go buy the game. The devs put a lot of love into making something fun. Get sucked into its tedium until you vanquish it. On the other side of the tedium lies unadulterated bliss for the person who loves to make things shiny and new. As any prostitute will tell you, there's pleasure in hard work if you just enjoy the ride. Thanks for watching, folks. Let me know in the comments below if there's a review you want me to do. See you next time.